Hey guys, this is Courtney from Willow's Bloom, and today we're going to be talking about the Aries new moon that's happening on April 11th at 22 degrees of Aries. So, this moon looks pretty exciting. Um, what I'm getting in the sense, and then that really comes in with all new moons, is that there is a new beginning here. But specifically, we just started off the new year in astrology. So, really, we just entered 2021 according to astrology. And specifically, Aries is the first astrological month. So this is like the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. And a newness, a new cycle essentially occurring in our lives. I'm seeing it having like a smaller cycle, where it takes 2 weeks for the next full moon to come to pass, but then also a larger cycle of 6 months for the next full moon in Aries, and then the even bigger cycle of the entire year for when the next Aries season will come again. So I feel like this is something that's going to be playing out on the short term and the very long term. So just kind of be mindful of what I say in the next video for your sign, and start to look for the clues and the energetic footprints that are being left now, because I do think that they will reverberate well into the future. So this is definitely going to be a video that is very applicable for many months to come, is what I'm feeling. So the good news about this moon is that, as I said, it's a new moon and it is going to be conjunct Venus. So that means the sun and the moon, our Venus, are all hanging out right next to each other in the sky. That's really good because Venus bestows a lot of harmonizing energy onto us. We've had a year with a lot of disharmony, and so now it's finally time to take that energy back and, with our own agency, find greater peace in our lives. And I feel like this is something we've all been needing for such a long time. So I'm going to kind of show you in what area of your life you're going to start finding this new peace and starting this new cycle. I'm really getting the feeling that we're leaving behind a lot of the past patterns that maybe kept us in that state of discord or inner disharmony. And so this could be happening literally with yourself, or it could be happening in your relationships, in your money, any kind of way that you're kind of connecting with outside resources or people. And so I really feel like the change is going to be internally, but it's going to start permeating those different layers and start moving into your relationships as well. So I think it's going to be a really positive new moon for the most part, but there is some intensity coming up. Specifically, what was interesting, I was reading online that there's a fixed star at 22 degrees of Aries that has a lot of Saturnian energy, where you really feel kind of restricted or slowed down, or inhibited in some way. And Aries energy is so different, especially because this moon itself is making a sextile to Mars, which is the ruler of Aries and is all about taking action and making decisions and being uninhibited and forcing your hand essentially, or forcing your path, like you forcing things basically, using your assertion. It's so different than where this is taking place, because 22 degrees of Aries, I said, is about inhibitions. So I think a lot of this is about overcoming inhibitions. And I think that is something that tends to happen when we are starting a new cycle. We've had so much momentum in one direction or one way of being that we can kind of feel like even if we feel really ready to start a new cycle, there can still be part of us that is holding on to the past, that doesn't want to let something go. And so what I'm sensing here is that there is a need to let go of those old ways of being. And that's where we might inhibit ourselves. So we have to kind of force through that into the new cycle. Just like giving birth is an uncomfortable process, like the last part, I'm sure, is the worst. I think that's kind of like what that is. Like, we're being birthed into a new cycle, and it's like that last little bit that has to push out in order for us to be reborn in a new way. So that's a big part of what I'm seeing here. As I mentioned, this new moon is making a sextile to Mars as well as Jupiter, because Mars and Jupiter are making a trine. And so what's happening is that Mars and Jupiter are having this amazing conversation with each other. These planets are empowering each other. And it's basically saying to us as a society that if we take the steps that we need to take towards our passions and take the action, we are going to receive blessings for that action. This is a time when we might feel inhibited internally, but externally, we're not going to be inhibited from our goals. So if you are looking to take action on something, this is the time to do so. This is a time to make change. And so these two planets, again, are having this conversation, and the moon is right smack dab in the middle of them, kind of listening on to them on both sides of its ear, basically, and getting information and getting blessings and getting opportunity to take action. So it's really boosting this moon and making it like I feel like what it's doing is it's creating this cycle where we do have to put an effort, but we're not going to have all the same blockages like we had in 2020. Like, I think that could also be part of where we might come in as like, okay, well, I was blocked consistently then in this area of my life. What makes me think that this year is going to be any different? And I think this moon is basically saying it is different. There's so many facets to what's going on in the astrology that explain the need for change. And change can only happen if you're not blocked from changing. And so I feel like the universe is finally giving us that green light or that go ahead. As I mentioned, there's so many ways that this moon and the sky are telling us to change. And one of those ways is the fact that this Aries new moon is making a square to Pluto. And whenever I think about a square to Pluto, there is some tension there. Pluto is a difficult planet to have a square with, like kind of like a fight with. But really, whenever there's a square to Pluto, I'm seeing us being really aware of how our soul needs to evolve. Maybe we don't have everything we need at the moment to create changes, to evolve our soul. Maybe we are missing some pieces. Maybe we are not who we need to be yet to actually stick with those changes. And that's what I think this square is saying, is that it's going to take some time to develop. There's going to be some workarounds needed or some help needed and some development and growth needed in order to make these changes on a soul level. But at this moon, we're becoming super aware of what those changes are in our life. And when I'm talking about like soul evolution, I really mean your soul, like zooming out into like the abyss where you can see all of your past lives and possible future timelines, and realizing kind of where your life has twisted and turned in the very vast big picture of time, and being able to see how you can counterbalance some of those mistakes with positive choices and different choices, and find that you literally evolve as a soul and become just a better person, a better soul. So yeah, I feel like that's another opportunity for us at this new moon, which is really exciting, especially when it comes to relationships and creating that inner harmony with ourselves and our values. I feel like because Venus is in an exact square to Pluto, it is going to receive the most intense energy from this aspect. And it's saying that we have to change the way that we relate to one another. We have to change the way that we act and make sure it is truly in alignment with our value systems, to make sure that we are, again, harmonizing within ourselves and then externally. So I just think that this is going to be a really transformative period. And it doesn't denote that it's going to necessarily always be easy, but it's saying that when you put in the effort, you're going to receive the rewards. And not every moon is going to be like this. So I would say we need to take advantage of this while it's happening. Saturn is also making a trine to the North Node during this time, which I feel like, again, is reiterating that when you put in the effort, you're going to start receiving rewards. And not just like, oh, like here is a gift, but it's rewards that open up the path to in the future for you. Like, okay, you're meant to do this with your life, or you're meant to meet this person, and it's going to be super critical to your self-understanding. Like, these really big milestones in our life are going to come when we start to put in the work at this time, at this new moon. And again, it's going to develop over the course of the year, so you might not see it all like play out right now, but I'm seeing the stage being set for the future right now. Mars is also making a square to Neptune. So this is a little bit of troublesome energy, a little bit of trouble in paradise. We have a lot of support here, a lot of call for change, and maybe some challenge in that. But Mars squaring Neptune to me can show like a depletion of energy or enthusiasm. It can show us being maybe uncertain or unclear. Like we want to take action, but we don't really know like the picture ahead. We're missing some information, we're experiencing some self-doubt or even some self-sabotage and escapism. There is just some element here where your willpower is being tested against the side of you that wants to kind of unplug and take a break and just play the victim. Because Neptune has a lot to do with victimhood. So if over all of 2020 you kept trying to take action and you were thwarted again and again, and then you want to take action now, there's maybe some part of you that still is in the victim, receiving end of like being the victim of that, in that, okay, if I take action this time, like it's probably not going to work, and repeating that kind of story and getting stuck into it, and then maybe using other things to escape the reality of your life right now, and not taking action by concentrating on things in your life that maybe are acting as diverting influences rather than something that's truly there to be in your life and to help you. So just be really aware of that this time. We're going to have to be aware of how we're spending our time and our thoughts and our energy, because it's possible to kind of have these leakages right now, when you are actually being really supported, but you have free will in this scenario and you can kind of go either way. Okay, so that's what I have for this, just a general overview of this moon. And now I'm going to go into each of the zodiac signs. I like to do it specifically for the rising signs. And of course, you guys can go into the description box and click to the time code. And the first one is going to be Aries Rising. So Aries Rising, for you guys, this moon is happening in your first house of self, and it's making a sextile to Gemini, Mars and Gemini in your third house, and a sextile to Jupiter in Aquarius in your 11th house. Oh, okay. I'm also pulling cards for you guys because why not? Because it helps and I love it. And I just pulled the first house, which is literally exactly where this moon is happening. So I feel like it's kind of just reiterating what I was already saying about that. And specifically, whenever something happens in our first house, it's really giving us a chance at a new identity within ourselves. And you guys got the Apprentice of Clouds, which is the Page of Swords. So this is like new ideas coming in. It says ambition. So that is interesting, that it says ambition. That's not really what I think of when I think of this card, unless Apprentice is not Page. Let me pull one more card for you guys, just because this is such a big moon specifically for you guys, since it's happening in your first house. So there can be little changes to your physical body, especially with Venus here. You might feel like, okay, I need to start maybe taking a little bit better care of myself and watching how, like watching what I eat and things like that. You might feel like you have more energy at this time, even though Mars, that might not be the case because of the square to Neptune, because Mars is your chart ruler, your ruling planet. So you might feel a little bit more tired. But overall, having the sun and Venus and all these planets in your sign tends to energize you, tends to make you feel sort of ambitious, So this is definitely a good time for any new starts because you're being supported. And I feel like this ambition card is basically saying, you're going to have the drive and the energy to make things happen during this month. So the moon is making a sextile to Mars and Gemini. And a sextile to Jupiter and Aquarius in the 11th house. So I definitely feel like your social circles are going to be starting to expand a little bit. You're going to be given a little bit more luck in those areas. It's a really great time to start networking and communicating with people. If you're trying to look for a specific opportunity, now is a good time to take advantage of this energy, because you're going to have the possibility for opportunities to come in through those connections. The 11th house, like Jupiter in the 11th house, is a lot about being supported by people who have more than you or have a connection that you don't have. It's like they're kind of reaching down and helping you like step up the ladder. And I feel like this is kind of improving your mindset as well with Mars and Gemini. It's like, okay, well, I'm feeling really motivated to go and communicate and talk to these people. And I feel like I can actually do it. Like I'm more confident. I'm believing in myself a little bit more. But it's interesting because I also pulled this card here, which is about, it says scarcity mentality. I cannot tell if this focuses. It's about scarcity mentality. And I think that this is probably coming in with Mars squaring Neptune in the 12th house. It's like, I feel like you guys can kind of get your stride and start to feel like, okay, yeah, like I can do this. I'm communicating with people, I'm connecting, I'm making friends, like I'm feeling good right now. And then that Neptune in 12th house comes in and kind of undermines you with like, oh, don't you want to kind of fall back into your old habits? Don't you want to maybe like practice more escapist tendencies? Don't you want to like not, I don't know, like feel insecure or not go after those things that you were thinking of? So there's just ways that you can kind of start to undermine yourself on a mental level that you might not even be fully aware of. So I feel like this scarcity mindset is really not talking about money necessarily. I feel like this is more so talking about friendships and connections and your ability to go after your goals in your life and create the things that you want to create. I feel like there is some part of you that feels like it's not possible, or it's going to be yeah, like it's not possible, like it's going to be too much for you and you're not going to be able to do it. So I feel like that's what this scarcity mentality is saying. But the fact that this moon is happening in your first house is giving you a lot of ability to make things happen, because it's such a big house to have a new moon in, especially the first, new moon of the year. So this is just a really big deal, essentially. And I hope that you take advantage of this and fully believe in yourself and allow yourself to go and go after the things that maybe you doubt you can achieve, or you feel like is really challenging. Like you can do it. You have the energy, you have the ambition, you have the strength to do so. I also pulled this aquamarine card for you guys. And I'm just going to read what it says about that. Aquamarine presents itself to you with a clear message that you cannot ignore. You are a teacher. You are here upon this earth to share your unique knowledge and wisdom to improve the lives of many. Whoa, right? Well, Aquamarine is also here to let you know that even if you don't believe that this is true of yourself, it is. Okay, this is exactly what I'm saying. Like, you guys have so much to share. You have so much wisdom and ambition and knowledge to share. But then there's this part of you that's like, I don't know, actually. I don't know if I am that great. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I have the friends or the connections. And that's just not the case. So, especially with Saturn in the 11th house, making a trine to the north node of the third house, I feel like it's saying that if you put the effort in terms of your relationships, if you try to actually go and meet people, you have to put effort in, you guys. Like you can't just, think about it. You have to do it. And so I feel like what this is saying is when you actually take those steps, it's going to start improving your mindset. It's going to start changing the way that you see yourself and your ability to relate to the world around you, as well as achieve your dreams. And I see this being extremely transformative to your career, because this moon is making a square to Pluto in the 10th house. So this is something that is just the beginning of a big change in terms of your career. So I feel like whatever connections and ideas are coming in at this time are going to be part of a very long-term picture of how your career is going to start to adapt. So I don't feel like this square to Pluto is saying, you're gonna have this major transformation in your career this year. I feel like it's saying, because Pluto is so slow and it's gonna be moving in your 10th house for more than this year, I feel like what it's saying is that it's going to be undergoing many years of transformation, but this is kind of like a starting period where you're going to get some new insights or new connections that will actually lead to that end result. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys, Aries Rising. I hope you enjoyed this. And if so, please like and comment down below. And as always, you can book a reading with me at willowsbloom.com if you want to see what's happening in the stars for you. All right, up next we have Taurus Rising. So I just started your guys' reading and then realized I messed something up. So I am pulling some cards for you, and I already pulled yours out of the deck. But I was starting off by saying that this moon for you guys is happening in your 12th house. And it's going to be conjunct Venus. And it's making a sextile to Mars in the 2nd, as well as Jupiter in the 10th house. So I'm definitely seeing some blessings and positive energy coming in through your career and your finances. I feel like maybe you guys are finally feeling more stable in that area of your life. Like things are finally starting to come through. But I do feel like whenever there is a new beginning in the 12th house, Yeah, I feel like that's always an interesting one because the 12th house is it's hard to interpret because there's so many different meanings and it really depends on your personal chart, of course. But I'm just getting this feeling that there's a lot of internal transformation that needs to happen. And I really feel like it's on a soul level. And I think that's why I pulled the Pluto transformation card because the 12th house is a lot about our soul and past lifetimes where we kind of accumulate karmic debt, where we have a lot of unconscious behavior coming in from our family and from past lives. And it's where I kind of imagine it like a dumpster. And every once in a while with a transit, like the dumpster top opens and like a piece of trash falls out. And we have to like sort through it and find the gems and then find the problems and throw those away. So I am getting the sense here that you guys have a little bit of um, just kind of like internal stuff going on that is really going to be playing out over, the next 6 months to the next year. I feel like you guys are going to be kind of sorting through a lot of these things and figuring out how to create that inner harmony with Venus there, how to create more of balance. So yeah, I feel like um, I feel like that's going to be ultimately really positive, but there is always some challenges and some shadows that come up with it. And I think that's why I pulled this card Moldavite because if I'm not mistaken, this card sorry, this crystal is a crystal that's actually made from an asteroid, which is so unique. And let me just read what it says. Ever felt like you're from another planet? Find it hard to be a human being? Moldavite is the cure. Formed when a meteor hit the Earth, Moldavite is a symbol of where the cosmos met the Earth. Okay, so I feel like that's exactly what you guys are going through because that's what the 12th house is. This is a house of like deep spiritual awakening where we begin to see our connection to the larger consciousness at play here. And I feel like the fact that I pulled this Moldavite card is basically saying that you guys are really tapping into some like soul level stuff and becoming more aware of your spirituality. You guys might be awakening to some gifts over this next year. And I feel like there's just this merging between the earthly realm, which is really interesting because I specifically mentioned the finances. There's this merging of the earthly realm and the spiritual realm that's happening here. And normally we're going to have to like move through some shadows in order to merge those because I just think so. This moon is in, like I said, this moon is making a sextile to Mars in the second house, sextile to Jupiter in the 10th house. So I feel like this is saying, yes, I go ahead on the finances. You guys got the King of Pentacles, the wealth card. So that's what I'm saying, you guys. I'm really feeling like you're absolutely getting some wishes when it comes to earthly stuff, but you still have to move through some stuff before that takes place. And I think that's why I got the Hanged Man in reverse. This is really about like delays, setbacks, and just kind of having to work through some stuff before you achieve this pinnacle of success. And that's really what I'm getting for you guys is that there's really two kind of storylines going on at once is like this need to change and transform these aspects of yourself and up level your spiritual practices and awakening, and then this other aspect of yourself that's really focused on the here and the now and the physical and kind of generating wealth in this lifetime. So I feel like these are happening concurrently, but the more that you awaken spiritually, the more you're going to start receiving these gifts of wealth, which is just absolutely amazing. You guys are having this moon make a square to Pluto in the ninth house. So I feel like a lot of this is being able to um, really trust and believe in a higher power that you're going to be supported. I feel like as you open up to these more spiritual gifts and spiritual beliefs, sometimes we have to take a step back from the material world, and it might feel like you're losing your concentration on your pentacles here, or um, yeah, like whenever you're focusing on spirituality, you have to take that energy from somewhere else. If you're focusing on your soul, that takes time, that takes energy. So I feel like what it's saying is that you should trust, you should lean into the universe to be able to support you at this time. Believe that your life will still improve as you're working on your soul. So if you kind of like zigzag in between working on wealth and working on your soul and spirituality, just know that you're going to be supported when you're still working on yourself, like even in the material world, that you don't have to worry about putting less energy into things like that. So that's one of the things I'm seeing. Another is just about really having more optimism about the future. And yeah, I think a lot of us are rewriting the past in a way where we're trying to move on from the past and not kind of recycle these same thoughts. So if you guys have had things in the past that are repeating, which can be common with the 12th house, this is our time to break that cycle and be optimistic that the new one is actually happening and that we are actually going to have things be different this time. You guys also are going to have Mars in the second house squaring Neptune in the 11th house. So this is interesting because I don't really like this in terms of finances for you, even though you guys do have the Master of Gems. I feel like the square to Neptune is basically this reversed Hanged Man card. Kind of saying like, okay, you are going to eventually make this kind of money and you're probably already seeing glimpses of it now, but there's still like the picture hasn't been fully laid out. Like you guys are might still be lacking the long-term vision of how this is actually going to play out. Like you kind of have a sense now of what you want to do right this second, but into the future it's like, I don't know, man, I lack that clarity. Like I really just, I don't know. And it's okay. I don't think you're meant to know with this square. Like you don't have to figure it out right now. I think this is going to be like a long-term thing that kind of just unfolds over time. But the more effort that you're putting into your career, the more money that you're going to get. So it's not like you're not going to um, like see results just because they don't have that long-term vision, because specifically of Saturn in the 10th making a trine to the north node in your second house, like you guys, this is the year for you. While the north node is still in your second house, this is the year for you to develop your finances and to develop your skills to make those finances. And it's saying that if you put in the effort, you will actually make that happen. So don't doubt yourself. You guys totally got this. Just remember to concentrate also on your spiritual awakening and your spiritual practices, because I really feel like you're meant to merge the earthly with the spiritual in this time. And that's, I feel like, going to be a huge focus for you this entire year. So I hope that resonates. If so, please leave me a like and a comment down below. And as always, if you want to see what your own astrology chart looks like and how this kind of all would be like for you personally, you can check out a reading from me at willsboom.com. Thanks. Bye. All right. Up next, we have Gemini Risings. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 11th house of friendships, as well as long-term goals, the future, technology, and just general groups that you feel like you're a part of, as well as receiving blessings from people who are in maybe a more beneficial place in their life, who can really come down and help you with wherever you are. So I'm pulling some cards for you guys to go along with everything that we're talking about today. And it's interesting because I just pulled the 10th house card, which is the World card, and the Star card, and the Oracle of Gems, which is, I think, the Queen of Pentacles, if I'm correct. Interesting. So I am seeing a pretty big focus here on the earthly material realm. Before I get into the astrology, let me just look up what this bloodstone means, because this is a card that I pulled for you guys. Look how pretty that is. And yeah, I'm just kind of curious how that plays in. So bloodstone has come to help you understand the importance of your existence. No big deal. For real though, in your lineage, there have been patterns, habits, and behaviors that have been passed down, bequeathed to the newest generation at birth. You yourself hold these things now running through your veins and have the power to choose whether you will share them with those who follow. Okay, so this is all about inheriting things and deciding if you want to keep what you've inherited or if you want to let it go, if it's serving you or if you're ready for this cycle to end with you, which is really interesting because you don't really have a lot of stuff going on in astrology that I'm like, oh, that is why I'm pulling stuff about career and about home, because that's the 4th and 10th house in astrology, and you guys have more stuff in the 11th and the 1st and 9th and 8th. So it's interesting that I'm pulling these because I'm feeling like these are the bigger things at play that you're focusing on in your life, like your ancestral patterns. So for Gemini risings, what I'm seeing for you guys with this card is that this is your chance with this totally new cycle and this totally new beginning to break any old ancestral patterns that are really just not working for you, like I was just saying. And I feel like this is ultimately going to be beneficial in your career with the World card here. I feel like it's going to allow you to finally break out into your career in a way that you've never been able to before. Because I think a lot of times these patterns, we're not even aware of them, but they're limiting us even when we're not aware of them. And so I feel like over these past even 10 years, it could have been influencing your career and kind of holding you back a little bit. And I feel like what's going to be happening is that you're going to start receiving more connections with people. You're going to start networking with more people, and you're going to be able to see your dreams start to actually come to fruition and come to life. But a lot of this is going to have you work on yourself in that process, especially because the moon is making a sextile to Mars in the first house. Whenever we have Mars in the first house, we have this motivation to change things in our lives. A lot of times in the first house, it's going to be something physical, especially with Mars. It's like, okay, let me go get in shape. Let me eat something different. Let me get trim, that sort of thing. Or it could just make us more motivated to change aspects of our life path, of our personality, and start to leave those patterns behind, because we're going to get freaking sick of having those same things crop up in our life when we know that we deserve better, especially with this sextile to Jupiter in the ninth house. I feel like that is us knowing that we deserve better, that we deserve to work on ourselves, to improve ourselves. And so I feel like these sextiles are going to be very supportive of us to make these big life changes. And then the moon and the new moon happening in the 11th house is going to sweep in and bring those outside connections and opportunities that are going to put us down our path, that are going to help us leave these patterns behind and step up big time in our career, especially because the star card is linked with Aquarius, which is 11th house energy, which again is where this moon is taking place. And the star card is all about having hope and faith for the future. And I feel like having this sextile with Jupiter in the ninth is already giving us more hope and faith for the future than we've probably had before. And this new moon 11th house is saying you should have hope, because you are going to have things come into your life now that are going to rejuvenate your soul and help you realize that this career path was always for you. It was just waiting for this old cycle to end and this new one to begin, so that you could start to leave those other things behind and focus on your everyday needs and start building a life for yourself, which I feel like is this oracle of gems here. This is your opportunity to start being practical minded and start taking things one step at a time to build your life the way that you want it to be. This moon is also making a square to Pluto in the 8th house. So yeah, I think that's where this bloodstone energy is coming in. Is these are ancestral patterns. These are things from the past. These are things that your family has probably instilled some like traumas or fears and insecurities that you might not totally be aware of right now, but that will start to be uncovered over the course of the year. And you're going to realize, oh, like I've been living in those shadows. I've been living in my shadow self in some way. And this has been coming from my family. And I have the choice now to make a different decision that's going to help me move on my path of my dream career and have hope and faith in the future that I'm going to be able to develop more than I ever have before. Mars in the first house is making a square to Neptune in the 8th, so you still might feel like you lack some clarity in terms of your career, or like everything hasn't fallen into place. You might feel like not everything is just totally aligned the way that you want it to be, and like you really want to take action, but then there's also part of you that's feeling like you don't have the energy, or like you're moving into escapist tendencies, so you're not taking action on things in your career maybe as you should. So be really mindful of that right now, that you are the one limiting yourself and you don't need to make that decision, because as you start to believe in yourself more and more and make changes to yourself more and more, you're going to start to see your career path really fall into line, and that clarity is going to come with action and with time, but first of all with belief in yourself, specifically because Saturn in the ninth house is making a trine to the North Node in the first. So that all comes around to believing in ourselves first, taking the action second, and then seeing the results third. So I really feel like this is going to be a good one for you guys. These are some really positive cards in terms of what's happening in your career and in just being more hopeful for the future and building a stronger foundation. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. And if it resonates, please like and comment down below. And as always, if you want to purchase a reading from willsbloom.com, you can. Have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Cancer Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 10th house of career, and it's going to be conjunct Venus, which is such a beautiful thing in terms of making things happen in your career. It's whenever I see Venus transiting the 10th house, especially conjunct a new moon, which is all about having a new beginning, and it's kind of laying that foundation for the new beginning, it's basically saying, I'm seeing some money come in, I'm seeing connections come in, I'm seeing people recognizing and appreciating you in your career, maybe in a new way than you've experienced before. It's a totally new cycle for you guys, which is very exciting. I dropped some cards, let me pick them up. Okay, so I am going to pull some cards for you guys along with this astrology message because I feel like it just brings so much clarity. It's so funny. I just pulled these cards, or some of them. Okay, so it looks like you guys got the King of Pentacles, which if you know anything about tarot, you know that that's a really great card. It specifically has the term wealth on it. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that new things are happening in your career. And I said Venus brings in that money that, yeah, you guys are really going to start achieving things. It's going to feel like, oh, this breath of fresh air. You might have felt like a little bit stagnant up until this point, or you might have felt like, especially with Pluto, with Neptune in the ninth house, you might have felt like you didn't quite believe in your path. And I feel like this is going to give you a new beginning where you're going to start seeing some new things come in, and it's going to help you start believing in this path again. Oh, I pulled the Cancer card, which is you guys. So yeah, I feel like this has a lot to do with a new emotional beginning, and that's really what's fueling your career here, are these emotional shifts happening, because I am seeing a lot of houses being activated here with these transits that have a lot to do with our mindset, that have a lot to do with how we feel. Specifically, this moon is making a sextile to Mars in the 12th house and a sextile to Jupiter in the 8th house. So the 12th and the 8th house are definitely about leaving old cycles behind. And I do feel like these are old emotional cycles. Oh, interesting. I also pulled the self-victimization card, which has an 8 on it. And the 12th house has a lot to do with being or feeling like a victim. I'm not saying that you guys are doing that, but I definitely think that there is something here that needs to be left behind emotionally that you've been recycling and it needs to just be retired. It's not actually benefiting you, and I feel like it does have to do a lot with this self-victimization card. I don't get the vibe that you guys are acting like victims. I just feel like this is one of many different types of mindsets where you feel like where you just don't support yourself maybe in the way that you need, or where you don't feel super positive about the future. I'm seeing this need to change your perspective, and I think that's ultimately just going to shift naturally over time, and it's what is going to lead you to some of that wealth, because you got the Hanged Man, the self-actualization card. I feel like this is all about changing how you feel, changing your emotions, and using them to work with you instead of to work against you, because sometimes these emotions can be very powerful. With Mars being activated in the 12th and Jupiter in the 8th, you can have a lot of shadows start to come out, and there can be a lot of negative emotions happening. And I feel like what this is saying is learning how to view those emotions differently or channel them in a different way to make changes in your career. Or maybe you don't even have to make changes in your career. That might not be necessary. It's more like, well, you could make changes to your career. Well, okay, let me just back up a little bit. What I'm seeing is I feel like things are going to start coming in your career. I think things are going to start growing in your career, and naturally you're going to start seeing where you want to make some shifts. But I'm really sensing with this moon squaring Pluto in the 7th house that what is changing in your career is really how you're relating to other people. So if you do some like one-on-one work with people, that is going to shift. Or maybe it's literally your relationship with your husband or your wife, and over time, you're going to see how this relationship has to change because of your career. So those things are somehow intermingled at this time, where your career and your relationships are being impacted by one another. So there needs to be some sort of shift in the dynamic of the way that you cooperate with other people. Maybe you're going to take other people on or work with other people, and it's going to help you generate more wealth. And I do think that's going to be a long-term process. So whatever that looks like for you, there's some shifts in relationships that is going to ultimately help contribute to your wealth and to your career, even though it might require, again, some changes, and it might require definitely some patience, and it might also be like less obvious. So even though it is helping you manifest things in your career, you might not be overtly aware of that fact. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm getting this sense of definitely needing to shift the mindset and be very aware of where your emotional energy is going. I'm gonna look up what this card means. This is still bite crystal. And I just want to have a look and see what that's saying. You are profoundly intuitive, and your psychic gifts only grow stronger under the glimmer of stillbite. The visions and dreams you hold for your future are the real deal, and are being delivered directly to you by the divine. Stillbite has been sent to you as an ethereal emissary to embolden you to pursue your intuitive insights with a courageous and faithful heart. Yeah, I feel like this is saying to follow your intuition within your career because you are being given any visions right now for a purpose and for a reason. And it's time to let go of maybe any emotional baggage from the past that can inhibit you from fully tapping into and believing that this vision is possible. A lot of times we can inherit things from our family, we can inherit things from society that make us feel like this vision is unrealistic or make us feel like we shouldn't pursue this for some reason. And it can cause that self-doubt. And I feel like Stillbite is coming in here to say, trust your gut. You already know what's going on and you guys can do it and you will make it happen. The timeline is already written. It's just about taking the action to make the timeline actually fall into place. So you guys also have Mars in your 12th house making a square to Neptune in the 9th house. So again, this is where I'm saying like maybe there's a need here to rely way more on your intuition because you can have some self-doubt that doesn't actually belong to you, that isn't actually part of your innate nature and isn't going to help you at all. So it's really saying to kind of bypass the mind where you might feel like, oh, I can't do this, I don't know, like self-victimization in any kind of way where you feel like you don't have the agency to make things happen in your life when you totally do, and it's just about believing in yourself and your gut instincts in each moment. Saturn is also in the 8th house making a trine to the North Node in the 12th, so I feel like as you begin to move past any of those insecurities, you're going to actually like simultaneously develop your intuition at that same time. So if you can actively work on changing your mindset, I feel like you'll notice that your spiritual connection is going to grow stronger and it's just going to kind of like naturally evolve over time, and your career is just going to take off from that point. It's like I'm seeing the intuition being a really big part of your career path. So like I'm not saying that necessarily you have to do something spiritual, but the choices that you make in terms of your career and generating money are going to be based off of intuition if you want them to be the most successful. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. This looks really positive overall, and I'm really excited for how this turns out for you. If you like this, please give me a like and comment down below if it resonates. And as always, if you want, you can purchase a reading from willsbloom.com. Thanks, bye. All right, up next we have Leo Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 9th house, conjunct Venus. So that's really beautiful. In terms of astrology, the 9th house is such a good place. It's where the sun rejoices, and the fact that the sun is here with the moon in the 9th house, it is rejoicing. It's like when I think of the 9th house, I do have kind of like this Leo energy because the 9th house has this regalness to it, like this kingdomness to it, and Leo is all about being a king in a sense. So I'm really getting a vibe that there's just some really strong, powerful energy that I feel like you guys are going to be unlocking, like this inner strength and this like regalness to you where you're able to start achieving things and people are going to look up to you in a new and different way. Okay, interesting. So this did come out reverse. I'm not sure if I should pull that in reverse. I'm feeling like I'll leave it like it is. So I pulled the 9 of Cups for you guys because I am going to be talking about tarot cards with this. So I hope you enjoy that. I'll just pull both of these. Interesting. I just got this one for another group too. So I was curious. Okay, so I did pull the 9 of Cups, which is about emotional stability. I feel like it's you finally coming into your sense of power. That's what I was saying. Like you guys feeling like, okay, I've been working on myself. I've been going through these transformations, and loss, hardship, everything that we've all been going through. And I'm finally feeling like I'm starting to gain some ground here. I feel like I'm finally gaining some emotional stability and feeling a little bit less challenged. I dropped some cards. Let me pick those up. Okay, a lot came out, but I guess I'll just use them anyway. So I got the fire element, which is, if you know anything about Leo, you know it's a fire sign. So this is you guys, again, feeling really regal, feeling really powerful, feeling really magnetic, and like you're able to make things happen, especially with this Aries new moon. This is such a fiery new moon. It's about taking action, and that's exactly what this fire element is about. It's about desiring something and then taking the steps to make it happen. Don't be afraid. You got the Grand Cross Provoker. So this is indicating definitely a need for some shifts and some change in your life. If anything has been stagnating, now is a time to absolutely to have those shifts, to not allow that energy to sit any longer. You also have the Grand Trine, blessings, and I feel like as you begin to take those action steps, you're going to start to see things come to fruition with this blessings card. And with the Ace of Pentacles, opportunity, you guys, this is literally a physical manifestation coming into your life. You have true emotional fulfillment, a wish come true, and an opportunity falling into your lap with these cards. But the fire element and this provoker card with the Grand Cross is telling me these things are going to fall into your lap. That's exactly what Mars sextile Jupiter does. But you have to take action on them because Mars is involved. If it was just a sextile to Jupiter, the opportunity would fall into your lap and it would just be there and you would just enjoy it. But with the sextile to Mars included, it's basically saying that you have to, again, take action in order to see that thing to fruition. So the opportunity is going to present itself. Don't delay. You have to trust yourself. You have to believe, and you have to get freaking excited because this is a true blessing from the universe, what I'm seeing here. And you have Capricorn IUs. Capricorn is about working hard towards something, not being afraid to put in the work, and it's about your career as well. So this could specifically come in through your career. It doesn't have to be that way, but it's just there's a sense of responsibility that might come through. Like once you guys actually do have this opportunity kind of fall into your lap, it's not like it's a done deal. There is that sense of responsibility. There's going to be more, like this is just the beginning, since this is a new moon in Aries. Like this is something that's going to evolve over many months, if not this whole entire year or years. And so this Capricorn card is saying you're going to have to be okay with accepting that responsibility and ending this old cycle and starting a new one where you might feel like, yes, you have more on your plate in a sense, but with that comes more blessings and more opportunities. So it's kind of like you're outgrowing that childhood self where you can kind of skate by a little bit easier, and now it's time to like challenge yourself a little bit more and have a little bit more responsibility, step up into like this leadership, make big changes into your life and act on these opportunities that are being presented to yourself. And then you're going to really feel like you're getting the emotional stability that you've always desired because you're taking that initiative. This new moon is also making a sextile to Mars in the 11th house and a sextile to Jupiter in the 7th house. So I'm definitely seeing some really positive things in terms of relationships. I feel like that's why you guys honestly got the 9 of Cups. I think, yeah, you're going to have some stuff possibly pop up specifically in your career, or just it doesn't even have to be a career. It could literally be relationships. I'm seeing some like blessings come in relationships with this sextile. And I think it's going to leave you feeling really ultimately fulfilled. You're having opportunity here, but again, you have to act on it. It's up to you. You don't have to take this chance. You don't have to meet up with that person or meet those friends and make those connections. That's up to you. But ultimately, if you guys do it, I feel like you're going to transform your relationships in a really positive way. And you're going to start to feel like extremely supported by those around you. And like you're not just this island out here trying to make your goals in your life happen. And yeah, this new moon is also making a square to Pluto in the 6th house. So there may be a need for you guys to really concentrate on ways in which you take care of your health and your body, and just like the daily habits that you guys have as far as your routine is concerned. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating well enough? I think once you guys are starting to making shifts with those little things, you're just going to find that you're more optimistic, and it's going to add to this emotional stability overall. You guys also have Mars in the 11th making a square to Neptune in the 8th house. So I do feel like there's still some shadows to work through with Neptune in the 8th. Um, yeah, there's always a sense of like avoidance that comes in with Neptune, especially in the 8th house where we have to put in a lot of work. 8th house, I think, is a lot about shadow work. So there can be like literal things that you guys need to sit down with and be like, okay, what do I need to let go of here? But I feel like you don't really have all the answers around that yet. And I feel like your new relationships could come in and start to trigger those things for you to be awakened in that area. So you might realize these patterns that you haven't had full vision of yet. As these like connections start to come in, they're gonna awaken those and bring those to light. So I just highly encourage you to explore those and don't practice any escapist tendencies if you do have things start to kind of be triggered and come up for you. And again, when you put in more work and more effort into your relationships at this time, you're going to see your connections grow. You're going to see your dreams come more into fruition or into vision because those connections are going to help support you in a really big way. So just don't shy away from, putting in that extra effort or making those connections or taking that action because that's going to be extremely important. All right, let me look up what aquamarine means super quick because that's one of the crystals I pulled for you. All right. I don't know if I showed this already, but it says Aquamarine presents itself to you with a clear message that you can't ignore. You are a teacher to share your unique knowledge and wisdom and improve the lives of many. Even if you don't believe it, it's true. You're emboldened by spirit through the medicine of Aquamarine to step forward and speak with courage as you teach, guide, and support those that need to hear and learn what only you can convey. This is interesting. I feel like this is kind of a separate message coming through, especially because I also pulled the Moldavite, which is about really being like relying on your, like connecting the spiritual world with the earthly world, like relying on your intuition and incorporating that into how you take action into your daily life and feeling just connected spiritually. So it's interesting that I pulled these two cards because I am feeling like you're getting some opportunities to step up in your career. This leadership, which I feel like this aquamarine is saying, you're going to have these opportunities to become more of a leader of your life and of your career. But it's saying to do so really using your intuition, really using your emotion and your gut, especially since it's right next to the Nine of Cups. Like your wishes are going to be fulfilled, but you have to rely on those cups or those waters or those emotions in order to make those decisions. So don't be overly focused like on a certain specific goal. Kind of allow those things to mold and change over time, because I know fire energy can be very desirous and want certain things a certain way, but I think it can be really beneficial to just go with your gut. So if your gut tells you that you want it that way, then do it. If it doesn't, then don't do it. I think there's a need here to trust yourself a little bit more, develop your intuition a little bit more, and build that muscle, because it does take some time in order to see that really grow. And I think that's going to help you step up as a stronger leader like you're meant to do in this lifetime. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If so, please like and comment down below. And as always, if you want to, you can purchase a reading from willisbloom.com. I do astrology readings, and I can tell you guys your upcoming transits, which can show a lot about what will happen in your life. And I think it's super beneficial. So I will see you guys there. Bye. All right, up next we have Virgo Rising. So for you guys, this moon is happening in your 8th house of other people's resources, of debt, of vulnerability, insecurity, of death, of rebirth, of transformation, big business, investments, taxes. So there you go. That's your astrology reading. No, I'm just kidding. So you see how complicated astrology can get. Like, okay, this new beginning is happening in this house, and this house has 20 totally different meanings. So figure it out. But that's why I love to look at all the other aspects happening in the stars, as well as tarot, because I feel like the tarot really adds it like fills in the gaps in a way. It kind of shows what's meant to be focused on at this time. Okay. Interesting. So I pulled the Five of Pentacles. If you know anything about tarot, this is about feeling like you have some kind of lack in your life. Even when you have a lot of resources all around you and you're actually quite gifted in certain ways, like it's like you feel like you're not. So that's interesting because what came through, was debt and things like that. So there can be this feeling right now as a Virgo rising that money isn't always like how you want it to be right now. Um, okay. I pulled way too many cards than I intended, but we'll go with it. So, so yeah, I don't know if you guys are feeling that way right now. If you're feeling like, gosh, like when is my cycle with money going to end? That's personally something. I'm a Virgo rising, but I'm like transit wise, I'm basically a Libra rising. But that's something that I've been feeling in my life for a while now. I was like, when is this money cycle going to end? When am I going to finally be that person that in my mind and in my heart I feel like I am, but in reality I'm not? And I feel like you guys could be going through something kind of similar where you're ready to end this cycle in terms of feeling like you're not getting your needs met, whether that's financially or even with relationships with partners where you feel like you want to connect with these people but you're really having trouble like making those deep connections. um there can be some highlight here in terms of that you feel like you can't. Yeah, I'm getting with this 10 of wands. This is a, I mean, 10 of wands is about carrying a very heavy burden in your life and feeling like, God, when am I going to get a break? These 5 of pentacles, 10 of wands, these are honestly not good cards. They're cards of feeling heavy, of feeling tired, of being ready for that cycle to end and feeling like you deserve for it to end. And ultimately what I'm seeing is that you will have that, but I'm seeing this whole journey happening where over the course of the year there's going to be some kind of like some ups and downs, some bumps along the way, but it's ultimately going to give you this incredible power of manifestation because you're going to be able to shed these old belief systems and these old ways of being and feeling like this lack mentality in multiple areas of your life. I see that finally being shed, but I do feel like, again, this is going to be a long process. It's going to be, what I'm feeling is the full year for you guys, because ultimately you end with the Ace of Wands and the Magician card. So these are about having the idea here, like the idea dropping in your lap and acting on it and manifesting it and seriously making something beautiful out of your life. So that's ultimately what I'm seeing you're stepping into. But you have to have a strong sense of inner knowing and inner power in order to act on that inspiration and create something, right? You can't manifest from a place of self-doubt, like, oh, can I do this? Oh, I don't know. Because you won't really be able to do it if you don't believe you can do it. So what I'm seeing is you guys totally transforming your belief in yourself. Interesting. Yeah, and I think that's going to happen over the course of the year. I do feel like it's going to be a journey, though. I pulled the 3 of Wands and the 5 of Swords. So I feel like it's going to be a journey where you are going to have some moments in time where you feel like it's not working or you're defeated or things aren't turning out exactly the way that you were hoping. And I feel like this is what you need, actually. I feel like you have to have this failure before you hit that new idea that's going to be the thing that makes you actually able to manifest these things into your life. So yeah, if you do face stumbling blocks, if you do meet defeat or failure, which I don't like those words, but you know what I mean? Like if you have something not really manifest the way that you're hoping, what I'm seeing is like right after that, after you learn the lessons and integrate all of that and step more into your power, then you're going to be hit with this like lightning idea. It's going to come out of nowhere. And then from there, you're going to take off running as the magician. And you're going to start manifesting everything that you're looking for. And I do think that's coming in terms of your career. I think you guys might be still working for a company now. And maybe you don't want to, or okay, because basically this new moon is making a sextile to Jupiter in the 6th house and a sextile to Mars in the 10th house. And it's really interesting because, first of all, I also pulled the 6th house here, so I think this is a particularly important message. But what I'm seeing here is like this kind of like this support, but also this difference in energy from these two sextiles, because the 10th house where Mars is all about pursuing like our dream career, our business or whatever that is in our life that feels like, wow, that is the expression of my soul. Whereas the sixth house is us kind of like in the mundane daily routines, kind of working for somebody else. We're being supported financially, we're being of service, and we get fulfillment from that, but it's not like our end game. And so I'm seeing here that you're being supported from both areas of your life. So if you have a job and you don't want to be in that job anymore, I'm seeing that it is a source of support for you ultimately. And also you're being supported in your career. So I think both of these things are going to come in at this time and really, yeah, support you, which I've said like 6 times. But there might be some things here with this sextile. Sextiles are do ask for a little bit of action. So I think you're going to continue to take action in your career, thinking about what your legacy is in the world, but then you're going to have to take action as well as far as your daily routine and really focusing on how you can take better care of yourself. And I think that that's ultimately going to help fuel that career path as well. So this new moon in Aries is also making a square to Pluto in the fifth house. So you guys might kind of feel like at this time that some of the bumps in the road might be around romance, or it might be literally just around trying to find enjoyment in your life. Like pleasure and ease might feel like they come in spurts at this time and not as consistently as you would like. Or maybe you have a desire to pursue something more creative, but there are a lot of internal limitations and blocks like kind of stopping you from that. And this is your time to really transmute that energy and let it go and allow yourself to kind of ride out these bumps and become this really strong magician character that believes fully in themselves and their ability to make those creative dreams happen. You guys also have Mars in the 10th house making a square to Neptune in the 7th. So there can be some lack of clarity in terms of relationships happening at this time, and that can somehow be impacting your career. Yeah, you might feel like, oh, I just don't really know how this person's going to fit into my future. I don't really know how this is all going to pan out. And it doesn't mean it's not going to, it's just a lack of clarity. And so it's going to be important for you to be also mindful of where you're putting your energy and keep it nice and balanced between your relationships and your career, and not use your relationships or your career as a method of escaping. And yeah, again, I feel like the more that you're really working on yourself, in terms of your like health and your routines, like, okay, I'm gonna get up at this time, I'm gonna cook at this time, I'm gonna, meal prep or whatever. I feel like those little things are gonna add up and ultimately help with your career, as well as just if you are in a job, staying in that job and kind of sticking it out in the meantime is going to help you with your career as well. So that's just the supportive energy I see. I did pull 2 other cards, the garnet and the turquoise. So I'm going to look up what those mean. You guys got a lot more cards than every other group. So maybe there's just like more messages that need to come through for you guys. Because I'm really seeing this whole journey happening, which is honestly exciting. Okay, so garnet. All right, don't freak out, but garnet isn't here with great news. It comes as a warning of approaching trouble. Things aren't super clear right now in the situation you're asking about, and you can't see the full picture. You may have been getting a little ahead of yourself with this. Garnet lovingly asks that you don't be foolish in thinking you know it all. You don't have it all under control as you'd hoped. Luckily, the universe has your back. Our odds are your intuition has already been screaming at you, but you've chosen to ignore the red flags. Okay, I mean, I feel like that's touching on 2 things. First of all, I said that there's going to be bumps along the road, and I mean, the 8th house isn't an easy house necessarily, so I do see there being some bumps. I do see that possibly coming in terms of relationships because of the lack of clarity and because Venus is in the 8th house with this new moon. So there can be some bumps in terms of relationships or money. But yeah, I hope that's not the case. But of course, you're going to ultimately be prepared for that, and it's going to be something that's going to really like sharpen your knife of wisdom, and knowledge, and your ability to move forward in different ways, and to be a more powerful person and powerful manifester. So I do feel like the reason I got so many cards is because it is showing that journey of having some bumps, but then ultimately coming out on the other side feeling like, wow, I like really things are doing a lot better than before, and I feel like I'm a totally different person, and I'm really glad those things happened. All right, and then with turquoise, it says, are you overreacting or a little salty? A little too sure that you're right and they're wrong? Turquoise is here to say probably a little, that's okay. You're allowed to your spectrum of emotions about this situation. Your guides have simply sent turquoise to you as a gentle reminder that you're a sensitive soul and your emotions may be getting the best of you. Okay, so I think that this is really coming in as a warning next to all these other cards that during these times, don't allow your emotions to get the best of you. I mean, it's much easier said than done, but as you do have some of these roadblocks, don't allow that to just totally derail you. You know, you can have a roadblock and continue on after. So if there are things that are coming up at this moon or even over the course of this year and you feel like you're getting really volatile or really emotional because of it, just kind of come back to this sense of self and allow yourself to feel those things, but not get caught in the downward spiral of generalizing across all things and saying like, oh, all my life is bad because this one thing didn't go my way. I tend to do that where, you know, I tend to say like, I have one bad thing happen in a relationship and I'm like, everyone hates me, you know, and it's like that kind of mentality that just kind of spirals you down. And I feel like it's basically saying it's time to have more control over your mind and emotions, and that's going to help you develop into that magician energy, which will ultimately allow you to finally manifest those dreams that you've been wanting. So this looks really positive for you guys ultimately, but I do see some bumps along the way. So I hope that this does prepare you guys. And if you enjoy this, please give me a like and comment down below if it resonates. And as always, if you would like to purchase a reading, you can do so from lilithboom.com. Thanks. Bye. All right, up next we have Libra Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 7th house of relationships. It's conjunct Venus. So you guys, this feels good to me. I mean, this is a new cycle, a new start in relationships. So whether this is very close friendships, whether this is your relationship with your parent or your spouse or your partner, there is a new cycle coming in here asking you to create more harmony, to make things easier, to not repeat past things that felt bad, that felt difficult, or maybe choosing different people that support you so that these cycles are easy to leave behind. I'm pulling some cards. Aw, interesting. Okay. I'm pulling some cards for you guys and to go along with these messages because I do have more astrology to talk about, but I feel like the tarot is just always so helpful. So, I pulled the 9 of Cups, which is about emotional stability. It's about wish fulfillment. This is one of the best things besides the 10 of Cups in the whole deck, talking about really achieving this place of emotional satisfaction in relationships. And I feel like that's so beautiful. But you also have the 4 of Cups, which says contemplation. And you can see here, she's holding one raindrop here. I don't know if it's focusing. Hopefully it did. But yeah, it's interesting because I feel like if you see this in the original tarot deck, it's like the universe is giving her a blessing and she's turning her back to it and considering if she wants it or not. So just ask yourself, maybe in some area of your life where you might actually be doing this, you know, where you might actually be given the opportunity for emotional fulfillment, your wish, desire, and then you're not sure. That's very interesting, right? I also pulled the black tourmaline crystal card. And I'm going to pull one more from the astrology deck. So this moon is also going to be making a sextile to Mars, which is in your 9th house, and a sextile to Jupiter in your 5th house. So yeah, I feel like this has a lot to do with like your optimism within the dating scene. So if you are single and you are dating, it's saying like girl, you got this kind of thing. Like you can, you know, there's a brighter future, like believe that there's something out there for you and just go have fun and have pleasure and have joy in the moment of what you're doing. But it doesn't have to be specifically on the dating scene because it can be about your creativity as well, having children. So maybe if that's something that you've been contemplating, there's some area in either your creativity or just your pleasure in life. This can be about sexuality, specifically with Mars involved, and or children. So there's one of those areas of life that it's saying, like, girl, relax, like, girl, enjoy, be optimistic, or boy, I know there's boys watching this too. So it's really about kind of like letting your hair down in a sense and having a new cycle where you can believe that pleasure is possible. Pleasure, joy, and wish fulfillment. that is coming in through relationships, that's coming in through connections, and your possible creative ventures, because Venus has a lot to do with art as well. So I'm just seeing a lot of support in terms of like feeling good and enjoying life, and being optimistic that once you do have this wish fulfillment come in, that it is legit and that it's here to stay and it's not going to just disappear. And I feel like that's a lot of what this Four of Cups is saying, is that it's almost like there's this doubt around it, and maybe this hesitation when it comes to accepting this new beginning. I don't think this is focusing, but that's okay. Like this hesitation in terms of the new beginning, because you're like, I don't know, like I'm still gonna think about it, or this is too good to be true. And I feel like this new moon is saying, you guys, we're starting a new cycle. Like this is meant to be good. This is meant to feel easy. And we've been going, as Libra risings, we've been going through this difficult transit in 2020 where it's really challenging our foundations as a person, as well as our physical home foundations. Many of us maybe changed homes, or had a lot to deal with when it comes to family members, or we can just have been moving through a lot of things that we maybe inherited from family. And yeah, and I feel like we've done all of that, and now it's time to start feeling good in relationships. And we're the ones who can kind of block that if we don't accept the idea that things can be joyful, things can be pleasurable, things can be easy. And it's so interesting because I pulled the I am card and the I have, which is Taurus and Aries. So this is an Aries new moon. So this is again just kind of reiterating that this is a new cycle, and it's a place where we're going to start making changes to ourselves, because whenever we have a new cycle happen in the seventh house of relationships, it's going to automatically trigger the opposite polarity of the seventh house, which is the first house in the house of self, which is Aries I am. So there is an underlying transformation not only happening in our partnerships and our dynamics, but also within ourselves. So there's a really big shift happening here. And this feeling that I'm getting from the Taurus I have is less so about the material goods you have, because that's not what I'm getting for this. I'm getting emotions and feelings. And I feel like this Taurus energy is actually really tied into Venus here, and having us specifically focus on the physical body and enjoying the physical body, because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and Taurus is all about the physical body. So there is just a need to enjoy ourselves more, have more pleasure, literally in our physical body, in our life, in our relationships. So yeah, I'm seeing that come through pretty strongly. And just allowing pleasure into our lives, allowing the creativity. Again, with Venus and Taurus, this is about maybe making something physical, like making jewelry or whatever you want to do, like designing your house. There's some element here of pleasure and joy coming through certain acts that we're doing, whether that's the act of creation or the act of sex or the act of relating to somebody. There is some kind of pleasure and joy that we're meant to be getting from this. And this is things are meant to feel easy and creative and flowing in this entire next year for you guys. That's really what I'm feeling. And because this moon is making a square to Pluto in the fourth house, I feel like we have to let go a lot of the struggle that came from our ancestors, that came from our family, that came from the way that we were parented and grew up. And like we just started to attach all these identities or beliefs about life and how hard it has to be. Maybe there's beliefs about how money has to be earned a certain way, or relationships have to be worked at, or sex isn't good because it's not Christian, or whatever those beliefs are. I feel like there's this maybe really deep seated underlying like root cause for for this Four of Cups here, for us, kind of rejecting these blessings from coming from the universe, saying saying that's bad, or we can't do that because of things from our childhood. And so with the square to Pluto, it's basically saying we need to let go of those things. And I think we'll have some of those things come into awareness over the course of this next year, where we start to realize how our family patterns have influenced us and kind of blocked us from living life in this state of ease and joy. You guys also have Mars in the ninth house making a square to Neptune in the sixth house. So I feel like this is where we kind of start to get into our heads a little bit here, because Neptune in the sixth house, I mean, the sixth house, I'm getting this energy of like the self-criticism, the being overly focused on details, kind of like too hyper focused on the small part instead of the big vision. And Mars in the ninth is saying, look at the big vision, look at the big vision. And Neptune in the sixth is like, I'm looking at the details and I can't even see them clearly. I can't look at the big vision. So I feel like I know that probably doesn't make that much sense. But I feel like just generally there's a need for us to compromise here and to zoom out, and also not to feel like we need to have all the details laid out or have this full understanding of like things happening in the present day. With Neptune and 6, I feel like we're kind of just taking it like one day at a time and like using our intuition to flow through the different tasks. And that's okay. I feel like we're meant to do that, but we're also meant to try to look ahead into the future even though we don't have clarity right now. Does that make sense? Like like you might not have your life totally under control right now or feel like you know exactly everything you're trying to do right now in this present day, but you're still meant to try to zoom out and be like, okay, in 10 years from now or in 3 years from now or even a year from now, this is like the overall energy I want to have. This is the kind of relationship I want to have. This is the kind of career I want to have, or children I want to have. Any of those things, basically. So yeah, I hope that makes sense, because I know it's kind of like a weird thing to say. It just came out that way. And yeah, you have Saturn in the fifth house making a trine to the North Node in the ninth. I love this, you guys, because I feel like what it's saying is that the more we work on just, or put effort into trying to enjoy life and its pleasures with ease, the more we're going to start feeling more optimistic about our life and believing in ourselves and like, okay, yeah, like I got this. I can do this and I can do this and I can do this because I'm doing this from a place of pleasure and joy. So it's interesting because with Saturn the fifth, you don't think that like, you don't think like working towards feeling pleasure. Like it seems like a weird oxymoron, but that's kind of what Saturn the fifth is saying, is like Saturn is a sense of effort, of work, and the fifth is our place of pleasure. So we might feel like it's not as easy flowing this year, but we're meant to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, and try to change our mindset around things to allow it to flow. So that's essentially what I'm seeing. I also pulled like this black tourmaline card, which I already said, and this says black tourmaline brings a message of a need for groundedness. Spirit is speaking and is asking you to align yourself and your environment with the energy of the earth. When you do this, you're able to stabilize your body, mind, and spirit to better know yourself and take actions that resonate with the highest good of your true self. The medicine of the black tourmaline will assist you in deflecting negative forces from your life that distract you from a deeper relationship with yourself and the world around you. I feel like this is really talking about this Taurus energy, which is about the physical. I was saying this is the physical. Venus is the physical. I'm getting this sense of physical here. So it's like when we ground ourselves in our physical body and really work on taking care of our health and just concentrating on connecting with the earth and yeah, grounding ourselves, it's going to help us. It's going to help guide us. We're not going to have as much of this Four of Cups energy where we are having doubt and we're contemplating if we want these blessings or not, because it's like, okay, well, I feel like I'm safe. I feel like I'm supported, and I feel like I can open up and receive these blessings without having to doubt it, essentially. All right, so that's what I see for you guys, Libra Rising. I hope that this resonates. If so, please like and comment down below. And as always, if you want to purchase a reading, you can do so from lilsbloom.com. Thanks. Bye. All right, up next we have Scorpio Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your sixth house of work, of health, of daily routines. Honestly, I don't like the sixth house that much, you guys. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. The sixth house is generally where we tend to put a lot of effort into things and maybe don't always feel like we're getting that recognition, or we just feel like we are more like subservient or need to be of service to other people. And so it's interesting to have a new beginning happening here. I keep pulling this card for so many people, the Hanged Man. So I pulled the Death card, which is not about death, don't worry. It says let go. And then I pulled the Hanged Man. So the other thing about the sixth house, you guys, is a lot about our mindset. Wow. Yeah, I do see this a lot with clients. Stuff in the sixth house can get us on these thought loops. And I almost think about it like almost like in terms of obsession. Interesting. Two of Clouds, indecision. Yeah. I'm seeing like a lack of clarity for you guys in your life right now. And you got the let go and surrender in the indecision card. That's very interesting. I don't know why I'm still shuffling. Four of Clouds. Rest. Okay. All right. That must have been an important one because I felt like I needed to keep shuffling. Interesting, you guys. Yeah, I definitely am getting some mindset stuff. And it's weird because for whatever reason, I remember the Scorpio Rising reading. I think because my friend Kim is a Scorpio. Love you, Kim. Scorpio Rising. Anyway, yeah, for you guys, I feel like you've been having these common themes around like your mindset holding you back in some way, or like issues around your thoughts and your mindset. So I'm getting the sense that things are probably okay, like relatively okay in life, but if that theme is continuing, because we have two clouds here, like two swords cards, which are about the mind, I feel like, yeah, there's definitely the elements here of the mind that you're still being kind of trapped in. So just keep that in mind, you guys. Like really assess your life if you're getting caught up in these thoughts. Really assess like how your life actually is. Lunar eclipse change. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely sensing some change here for you guys with this let go card, this surrender card, and this change card. There is something that needs to leave your life, especially because this new moon in Aries is making a sextile to Mars in the 8th house. The 8th house is all about death. So there is a literal like death of something happening in your life, and it doesn't have to be a person, my god, but there is something here that needs to die off, you guys, and I feel like it's got a lot to do with your mindset more than anything else. But there's a need to change, to let go, to surrender to the new things that are trying to come in. I feel like this is a new cycle, but the feeling that I'm getting is like the old cycle is overlapping with the new for you guys. And there's this little bit here where you're kind of like struggling to fully let go into to like free trust fall into this new cycle and this new beginning. And that's why I think the surrender card is coming out here to say that it's time to change your mind, to change your perspective, and yeah, to not try. I feel like a lot of, I mean, what I initially just wanted to say was to not try to have all the answers. I feel like this indecision card coming out is saying, I feel like it's saying that it's okay to be in a state of not knowing. It's that you, I mean, you got the rest card. So it's like, it's okay to not know. It's okay to be in this kind of like flux between the cycles. Maybe this is just an opportunity for you to rest a little bit. And then when you're ready, let go of whatever that thing is from the past. And you'll probably have more clarity once you let go of whatever that thing is from the past that isn't serving you. I think it's mindset stuff. But once you let that go, then I think the indecision will clear. So I feel like the indecision doesn't have to be like, oh, I have literally a choice between these two things. The indecision can just be about like having a not total clarity around how your life is starting to evolve or how it's going to be in the future, and feeling like this kind of like you're lacking this stability or foundation is like the sense that I'm getting. And I'm just like, you don't need to have that all figured out right now, you guys. Like, it's okay to rest. It's okay to chill. And then once you do let go of the past, you'll start to see that things start to fall into place a lot better. But don't resist the change, because every time we resist a change, especially with stuff around the 8th house and the 12th house and even the 6th house, if we're resisting change, if we're resisting the evolution, the universe is going to force it upon us, and it's going to be more uncomfortable. So if there is some mindset that you need to let go of, try to be like actively working on letting it go and being conscious of what mindset shifts need to be made, or what thoughts are kind of driving you. Because if you don't consciously do it, I'm seeing what's going to happen with this lunar eclipse is that you're going to have some emotional circumstances come up to really make things bubble underneath the surface, so that you're more aware of what mindsets are driving you, so that you do make those shifts. So I feel like the universe is saying like, do it or we'll do it for you kind of thing. Especially because this moon is making a square to Pluto in the 3rd house, which is all about our mindset, you guys. That's what I'm saying. There needs to be a mindset shift here. So This has been a pretty consistent message with you guys, and we're entering a totally new year astrologically, a totally new cycle astrologically. It's a very big moment, and you don't want to carry that baggage with you into this new cycle. I'm seeing things that want to come in for you guys, but you're not ready to receive them yet. You need to rest right now. You need to have more clarity of mind, and you can only do that by letting go of these old mindsets, by changing the way that you see things. I pulled the Sapphire card for you guys, which says, Sapphire surfaces with a simple message. You know what you need to do, sweets. I need to hear that again. You know what to do. You're already in touch with your truth in the situation, and your angels and guides have sent Sapphire as a nurturing nudge to get going. Oh my God, okay, this indecision card is coming up, and then a Sapphire card saying, you already know. So you know deep down inside, if you are coming to this reading and you have a decision to make, or if you just made a decision and you're doubting your decision, there is something coming through telling you that you already know. And maybe you just need to rest and let go of these old mentalities and shift your way of seeing things and not hold on to maybe how you would have done things in the past. Yeah, I'm definitely getting a shift of like breaking the past way of behaving and thinking and just making a new decision that is actually based off of your intuition and letting your gut guide you. So if there is a indecision here, you know what you need to do and the change is waiting for you. You're supposed to make this change, and if you don't, the universe will force you to make this change. So just be open, be willing, listen to yourself, and to listen to yourself, again, you have to rest, let go of the past, and change your perspective and surrender to this new beginning that's trying to happen in your life. Okay. Just to finish up really quickly, you guys have Saturn in the 4th house making a trine to the North Node in the 8th house. So I feel like a lot of these things can actually be coming from family. Like, I don't think family necessarily. I feel like it's childhood. Like you did whatever thoughts that you're needing to let go of right now at this time. These are things that have been with you since childhood. These are old thoughts. These are not things that you just developed in 2020. Like these are things that you've carried with you in your soul from the way that you grew up as a child. And so I feel like as you start to let those things go and start to uncover what those thoughts are, that's when you're going to start feeling like so much lighter. You're going to feel like you're reborn. And that's, as a Scorpio rising, you're meant to rebirth yourself and transform yourself all the time. And so it's going to finally allow you to do that. You are the snake that is going to shed its skin. And so in order to fully do that, you have to really go deep into those things from childhood, because you guys are holding on to some stuff. I'm seeing this fear of like letting go, this fear of trusting yourself, this fear of diving into this new chapter. And I'm getting chills as I'm saying that. So I feel like that's true. And there's this a need to change. And you guys, it's overdue, but the universe isn't rushing you. So it's overdue, but the universe isn't rushing you. And what I mean by that is that you are ready for this change. But the universe isn't going to force you right now, but it will in the future if you don't soon. Because I'm getting with the rest card that you still have some time to sit on this, to sift through this, to heal a little bit, to make decisions. And this change card is coming in saying, all right, you're only having so much time doing that before we do it for you. So just be aware of that, you guys. But all of this looks really good. And if you guys lack some clarity when it comes to things around creativity or things that you want to make in your life, just know that that's normal right now. But as you begin to start letting these old thoughts and beliefs go, those creative ventures are actually going to come in and be a lot more clear, I'm thinking, because you have Mars in the 8th making a square to Neptune in the 5th. So that's pretty much how I'm interpreting it. So I hope that this makes sense for you guys. I hope it resonates. If so, please like and comment down below. And as always, if you want to purchase a reading from me, you can do so at willsbloom.com. And I hope you have a good day. Bye. All right, up next we have Sagittarius Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 5th house of romance, of creativity, of children. And honestly, of like pleasure and joy and sexuality and so many things it could be. And I'm pulling some cards to go along with this reading to help give me some more clarity about how this might play out for you guys on a more individual level. Okay, so This moon is with Venus in the fifth house. So you guys might be feeling like pretty good at this time, especially in terms of relationships. I feel like communication is going to be flowing with you guys. New ideas are going to be coming to you guys because this moon is making a sextile to Mars in the seventh house and a sextile to Jupiter in the third house. I'm just sensing a lot of ease in terms of your mindset and relationships at this time. And I feel like some of those new ideas can bring about opportunities for you. This is, you guys have got the Ace of Pentacles, which is really about a new career opportunity coming to light. And so I feel like this could come in terms of having a new idea, a new creative idea come to you. Yeah, I wonder what that's going to look like. A new creative idea. And this could literally mean something that you want to create with your family. Like maybe you want to have a kid, or maybe you want to start a new art project, or maybe you want to have a new like physical opportunity in terms of meeting somebody new, or maybe it is literally in career and you're starting to see those ideas kind of bubble to the surface. You're like, this is actually really good. I think I could actually develop this and make this happen. And so the sense that I'm getting is that over the course of this next year is you're going to be developing this thing, this creative venture, this thing that you're interested in, that you're passionate about, that brings you joy and brings you pleasure. And it's going to bring about this whole new cycle for you guys, because I pulled the Wheel of Fortune card, which is about ending an old cycle, starting a new one, which is already really about what this Aries new moon is. It's like it's a whole new cycle. But specifically for you guys, the feeling that I'm getting is like, if in terms of career or even relationships, or whatever it is you've been wanting to kind of work on, I feel like 2020, you might have been like kind of cock blocked every time you tried to do that. And it's like, well, hell, like why are my efforts not like really manifesting? Why am I like changing my mind a lot, or not having the total clarity of where these things are going, or maybe I didn't manifest the right relationships and networks. There's so many ways in which we can kind of feel like we're thwarted, and I feel like this is saying no, 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 you guys are starting a new cycle, like for real. Like it's not even just this Aries new moon stuff. It's like it's like on a whole new level for you guys. I'm getting the sense when it's giving me the cycles Wheel of Fortune card is that this is a long-term cycle shift. So something that's going to be impacting your life for like the next decade. So whether this is having opportunities in terms of your career, or in terms of starting, meeting somebody new, or having a child, there's something big coming in for you guys. I'm getting like big shift, big energy, and like finally feeling like, okay, yeah, things are flowing. Okay, yeah, I got this. So that's really positive. I'm definitely getting the sense of something building, because especially in the fifth house where this new moon is happening, it is about building our resources. The fifth and the 11th and even the ninth house, it's where things start to accumulate, especially the fifth. It's where fortune starts to accumulate, where our efforts are ultimately going to pay off. So I'm getting the sense of longevity, of work, of accumulation that's going to happen, and this total shift in energy for you guys. So if you've been feeling a little bit frustrated from this past year, you're going to feel differently soon. This new moon in Aries is also making a square to Pluto in the second house. I feel like this is going to shift you on a deep internal level. The second house, it does have to do with our finances, our resources. So this new opportunity could come in and literally give you more money and more resources. You guys, let me fix this light. It's bothering me. Okay. But yeah, so there could be like literal physical things coming into your life and your resources sort of changing because of that. If you do have a kid, obviously your resources are going to change, things like that. But yeah, I feel like this greater sense that I'm feeling with the second house is you developing this really strong sense of self-worth through this thing. So like you pursuing this opportunity, I'm sensing that it's going to have this long-term change, because Pluto transits the second house for a long time. So it's going to have this long-term change in your personality and the way that you develop your skills and the way that you believe in yourself and how much you feel like your time and your energy is worth as a person, what boundaries you need to set up in relationships and in your life to protect yourself, to care for yourself, because you're worthy and you know that. And so I'm getting this really strong like sense of strength and independence developing, but again in this long cycle. So I don't think you guys are going to be like, wow, I feel that tomorrow, or at this new moon specifically. I'm getting that you guys are going to get some opportunity for growth, for expansion, and it's going to play out over time. It's going to build up, and it's going to feel like it's flowing and pleasurable because it's the fifth house, you guys. It's like it's where we feel joy. It's where all of our joy is stored. And so yeah, I'm getting this really just optimistic feeling from you guys. As a Sag rising, you're probably already optimistic, but I'm just getting it even stronger than normal. Black Moon Lilith mystery. Interesting. Grand Trine blessings. Okay, guys. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. These blessings, they're coming in here. You're supported right now. The universe wants you to succeed. The universe knows it's been giving you guys some curveballs. Luna, stop. The universe knows it's been giving you guys some curveballs, and it's like, all right, we're gonna give you some blessings now. It's time. But I do feel like even as you continue on and start to pursue these opportunities, I mean, there are still going to be things that are meant to be a little bit of a mystery in and of yourself that you're going to have to learn about yourself and explore. And I think that's a lot of what this Black Moon Lilith is representing. It's interesting because the Black Moon Lilith is about like our sexuality, and it's also about what we desire and like taking what we desire and not feeling like we have to be a certain way because of other people, like if they expect us to be a certain way. And there's a strong sense of independence that comes out with the Black Moon Lilith, like I'm gonna do what I want and I'm gonna be happy with it, kind of thing. But it's interesting that it says mystery too, because there is a lot of mystery that shrouds the legend of Black Moon Lilith. So basically, and I hope I'm not saying any of this incorrectly, so I'm sorry if I am. But basically, they're saying that Lilith is like the original wife or whatever to Adam, like the partner to Adam. And then like Adam was like, hey, I want to chill here. And she's like, no, I want to do my own thing. And so she just kind of bounces and starts like to be this independent woman at this time when maybe that's not what was normal. And so she was sort of demonized by a lot of people, and you know, for going out and doing what she wanted sexually and just in life. And so it can kind of feel like that as you're stepping into this new cycle, new opportunity. Like maybe other people aren't actually, no, I feel like other people are going to support you because of the sextile to Mars in the 7th house. So I'm definitely getting a sense of support here. But maybe there's just like this breaking away and the sense of independence that you didn't necessarily have before this. And that can sometimes be challenging for other people. But given the astrology, I'm going to say that it's not going to be challenging for others. But maybe people that don't know you, that's always possible. Because the 7th house is about like intimate relationships. So I'm getting a sense that those who love you and who are close to you, around you, are going to support you at this time in growing in that independence and taking those opportunities and starting these new cycles. But there might be like outside people who are like judgy, or you might feel like they don't really get you. And it's not, who cares? They don't need to get you. Like you just got to do you, right? So you might be like kind of a mystery to them, to the world, and that's okay. That's totally a great thing to be. Okay, I also pulled this crystal for you, rhodochrosite. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's so pretty. And I want to go ahead and read what that means before I move on to the other messages. Rhodochrosite comes to you with an unmistakable message. You spot it, you got it, baby. But what does that mean? It means that when you identify something in someone else that you really like or really don't like, it's typically because you see or perceive that same thing within yourself. So this crystal invites you to look at yourself realistically based on the judgment or adoration you project onto others and notice what comes up. Okay, good. So yeah, this is where I think those other people are tying in. So again, I'm really getting the sense that you're very into close, intimate relationships. It's not going to be as much where this is coming into play. But the people online, or the people who are acquaintances or kind of like friends of friends, or who are more distant friends, I feel like those people are going to kind of start triggering you a little bit with this Black Moon Lilith card. Like you're going to, like they're not going to understand you, and you might project certain things onto them. Or you might, like this thing says, do the opposite, where you start to like adore things in other people. And this card is basically saying it's time to really own these different parts of yourself that you're witnessing in others. So if you are really irritated about something in someone else, if it's really triggering you, there is a reason for that. And it's important to uncover the mystery in that. Like, okay, what why is this triggering me so much? And really get down to the deep core issue, because it's not about the person, it's about you. So there's something in you that you're rejecting, or there's something in you that you haven't fully faced or wanted to talk about and deal with, that is being triggered when that other person is upsetting you. Or if you're like, wow, that person is freaking amazing, you have those qualities too, and it's time for you to fully open up and own those, and that's going to help you step into this new cycle here and achieve these blessings that are being offered to you. You guys also have Mars in the 7th house making a square to Neptune in the 4th house. So I do feel like you're supporting your relationships right now, but you might not have total clarity about like your home and family life. So if you are currently with a partner, maybe you don't have a total clarity of like the living situation, or like where you want to move or live long term, or maybe like you don't know how they're going to vibe with like your family, or maybe there's stuff coming up from your childhood that can impact your relationship. So there's something here in regards to like home and family and your close relationships. There is some kind of discord or thing that needs to be like worked out a little bit. And you might again have this like just general lack of clarity around the issue. Like you can feel something in your gut is a little off, but you can't really pinpoint like what needs to be changed or what the exact issue is. So just kind of keep that in mind. I think that's something that will like have more clarity over time. So if there is some kind of thing going on in relation to your home and family and how that's impacting your relationships, just know that that's going to eventually clear with time. You guys also have Saturn in the 3rd house making a trine to the North Node in the 7th house. So I feel like as you guys work on your mindset and your ability to communicate with others, you're really going to see your relationships thrive. I feel like they're already being supported at this time. So if you just put in that little extra effort, you're going to see exponentially how these things are going to improve in your life. And I think that's ultimately going to bring you even more opportunities. So I really hope that this resonates. Please give me a thumbs up and a comment down below if it does. And if you guys want to, you can always purchase a reading from willsbloom.com, where we'll go through your astrology chart together. I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, you guys, I tried to like fix the light because this is horrible right now, but it didn't help. So we're just gonna go with it, and you guys can just listen to me and look at my face in the blinds. Or I can maybe maneuver like in the corner here. Okay, so up next we have Capricorn Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 4th house of home and family. And of course, it's going to be conjunct Venus there. And I'm going to be pulling some cards along with this to kind of talk about what that might look like for you guys. Interesting. Home and family. Okay. So I'm getting this message that for you guys, because this is so much about old cycles. This is so much about old cycles, you guys. And I feel like what the universe is trying to do is trying to help you get rid of old cycles that you've inherited from your family, specifically from your childhood, like the way that you grew up. Wow, you guys have a lot of like cards about negative mindset, like a lot. And I don't feel like, you guys, I don't feel like it's yours. Like this is, I mean, of course it's yours because you're using it or thinking that way, but I feel like it's inherited. I don't feel like this is like yours, you guys. I feel like this is something you need to let go of from way deep in the past. Like your family, like your parents' parents could have struggled with similar issues. Like this is something that you are taking on that you just don't need to take on. Oh, interesting. I got the 4 of Wands, which is homecoming, and there's literally a home there. So yeah, I feel like this is ultimately what you guys are doing, is this like immediate sense that I got that your family lived one way, thought one way, acted one way, and you kind of by default have that ingrained in you. And now I really feel like this is a huge new beginning for a lot of us. Like I just can't even explain. This is a huge cycle ending, and I'm feeling like for you guys it's a long cycle ending and a new one beginning. And I'm getting the sense that you're going to be building your own home. You're going to be coming home to yourself, to your most authentic self, and rebuilding what it means to be you, to think like you do. It's so interesting. I feel like you guys are going to ultimately develop your own families, your own home. I mean, your family can look like whatever you want it to look like, right? It doesn't have to be like two parents and a kid, but yeah, I'm getting the sense that you're like totally rebuilding something and reimagining something, and you have a lot to let go of in order to get there. I pulled the amethyst crystal, which is so pretty. The amethyst is one of my favorite crystals, you guys. So it might be helpful to work with amethyst at this time when you're moving through these energies. So let me look up what amethyst represents, and then we'll move into the another messages. Spirit knows that you've been toiling over an important decision, feeling unsure of what to choose. So you have been sent a helper in the form of amethyst. The stone is calming and integrating, helping you to feel self-assured and balanced as you consider your options. Amethyst is guiding you to find a middle ground in the midst of extreme energies that pull your mind in different directions of what ifs that may come to pass based on this decision. When you operate from that emotional equilibrium, you can make a decision from a place of empowerment in which you are level-headed with clear spiritual vision. Okay, you guys, just having a decision to make, or like not really feeling like, let me go back a little bit, because having a new moon in the fourth house, you guys, the fourth house is our foundations. So you're literally having a new beginning in your foundations. A new foundation is being created. Okay, so I feel like whenever a new foundation is being created, we're knocking down the old. There's a lot of decisions that we have to make, right? There's a lot of like ways we have to choose to act differently than we did growing up. And with that comes a lot of those same thought patterns that come from childhood. So we're trying to make different decisions, but we're still experiencing the same old recycling thought patterns from our past. So it's interesting here because you can't make different decisions if you're recycling the same thoughts and the same mindset. Because everything really starts with emotion, then the mind, and the action. So we have to really come at this from an equal, balanced, stable set of emotions, and then really conquer our mind from there. And I feel like that's what this card is saying, is we need to really tackle the heart and the mind to create this sense of balance and the sense of ease. Because I'm really getting, you guys, that there is like this inner war going on. Let me just show you what cards I'm even looking at so you know why I'm saying that. I pulled the Five of Pentacles, which is need. So this is you feeling like you don't have what you need, even though you actually do have everything that you need at your disposal. This is this feeling of like, and Seven of Clouds, or Seven of Swords, this feeling of scarcity, of having to fight for what you need. And I also got Five of Swords, which is defeat. Nine of Swords, which is anxiety. See, all of these are thought patterns, you guys. These are thought patterns you have inherited that you need to let go of. The sense that you have to fight for what you want in life. The sense that there is a lack, that you need something. You need to these are all inherited. This anxiety that your needs won't be met, that can come from this feeling of having to fight. You're going to have anxiety if you feel like, I have to fight for what's mine and my needs aren't going to be met otherwise. And this sense of defeat, like if things, worrying about things going wrong, it's like that's where all this anxiety is coming in. But what's cool is that you guys ultimately have the King of Clouds, or the King of Swords, intellect. And I feel like this coming at the end is saying, this with the homecoming card is saying, you're going to master your mind. That's what this whole process is about. Redoing this foundation, having this new foundation is coming through to say, all of this is basically coming in to change your way of thinking that's been inherited for many, 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 many years. And so, of course, you're going to have these thoughts come up again, and it's going to take time, but ultimately you're going to master your mind, and you're going to find this sense of home in yourself. You're going to create this new sense of home that you've never really been able to have before. Interesting. I'm getting very, very strong like scarcity mentality, because even though these two positive cards are here at the end, you have scarcity mentality right in between them. And then on top of that, I have the Void of Course Moon, which says missing. So I'm feeling like you guys feel like something is missing in your life, like something needs to be developed. And like there is some kind of lack here. Like you're feeling like something is missing. Maybe it's like you don't know what the next step is, or maybe you're just not sure and you're getting in your head. And yeah, I think you're missing like the feeling of being certain. You're missing the feeling of trusting yourself, of trusting your gut. You're missing that like ability to get down into your intuition and make and be decisive and empowered and know that you can do whatever it is you need to do to make something happen. You're missing all that because you're getting in your own way with these clouds here. Like all the clouds are literally clouding your judgment. You're not able to see things truly as they are. But you are a manifester. You have this fire card, this desire card, which to me is saying that you can absolutely manifest what you're thinking about. You have the ability to take action on it and to make it happen. But you're allowing the clouds to make you feel like you can't. And it's taking your power away, you guys. I feel like a lot of this is taking your power back by stopping this cycle of old thoughts that are coming from your childhood. Like, let that go. Shake it off. Like, literally, I encourage you to get up right now and just start shaking your body and like this kind of ecstatic dance type of movement where you just release this energy. That's what I'm getting, the sense of like old things and these thoughts just spiraling and spiraling. And I'm like, you guys need to shake it the fuck off. Like when dogs are stressed or when they're scared, they shake and it releases the emotion. And I think for you guys, you need to get out of your head and into your body and move things out. Yeah, I think that will definitely be beneficial, especially because this new moon in Aries is making a sextile to Jupiter in the second house and a sextile to Mars in the sixth house. Both of these have a lot to do with the physical and the physical body. So especially with Mars in the sixth, like this is a really great time to be very mindful of how you're taking care of your physical body, getting more like action and momentum and like energy in your daily routine is going to be important. So working out, being really physically active, or caring more about your diet is going to be really helpful at this time, as well as just going back to examining like your overall beliefs about yourself, like kind of exploring what you think is true and what you think isn't true. I think that's going to be really important. Like what you value, what you want to go after in life, like getting down to kind of like your philosophical core as a human being is going to be really helpful, because I think you're getting trapped in this scarcity mindset, which is really focused on like getting your needs met, because I think you growing up maybe didn't get your needs met in the way that is coming out now, is kind of like being triggered now. And so I feel like you're trying to like get your needs met and like fight for what's yours, when in reality you need to touch into like a higher vision of your soul and your life and yourself and what you value as a soul and what you really want to go after. Because if you're thinking of what you value, you're going to make different choices than if you're thinking about getting your needs met. Because if you just feel safe, like your needs are going to be met and you can just go after this like higher vision for your life, it's going to be on this whole other octave, on this whole other level. And you guys are not there because you're getting trapped in your thoughts. But I'm seeing yourself allowing yourself getting there. But just be really careful about that scarcity mindset, because I do see that creeping up in between. And I think that will be a little bit more of like an ongoing issue that you need to be very mindful of, is what I'm trying to say. And with Jupiter in the second house, you're definitely being supported, you guys. Whatever change that you're desiring to make in terms of your home, in terms of your foundation, it could literally be buying a new home or just like changing the foundation of your life in some way. Whatever changes you want to make are being supported financially, because Jupiter in the second saying, we got you, girl, like boy, we got you financially, you got this, like don't worry, you can trust fall. But I feel like because of your childhood, because of your past, you're feeling like you can't trust fall. And really what this is asking you to do is make a huge change to yourself and your life path with Pluto in the first. But I think that that's something that's going to happen over a long period of time. This is going to be many years in the making. I think this is one chapter of what's going to take place in a large novel of making big changes in your life. So you really got to master your mindset now, because there's so many big changes yet to come. And this is a small portion of it, is what I'm trying to say. So you really got to have your values straight. You got to have the scarcity mindset gone. You got to have let go of those old things from the past. Start a new foundation, because you're going to be building huge things, and you really can't build huge things if the foundation is shaky. So you guys got to put this effort in right now to really think differently than you were before. And I do feel like with Mars in the 6th, I was going to say, I feel like as you begin to work on like the daily routines of things in your life, that can help support your mindset. You might feel like you're just, with Neptune transiting your 3rd house, you might just feel like you're kind of lacking clarity in terms of your mind. That's probably why you have so many clouds here. It's like, I don't really have full clarity of many areas of my life. And I feel like what this is saying, by getting into your body, focusing on your routines, focusing on your literally your schedule, how you take care of yourself, like that's ultimately what's going to pull the energy back into yourself and empower yourself, instead of like focusing on what you don't know, if that makes sense. So if you're like, I need clarity on this, well, what I'm getting is that maybe you can take a little bit of a break from that for a second and not try to figure it all out, and focus on your well-being. And then I think as your well-being increases, you will have more clarity. Those things, it will just be a natural byproduct. Because I think you're trying to like get down to the root issue without fully taking care of yourself first. There has to be a hierarchy, right? A hierarchy of needs here. So you got to make sure your needs are met before you can really move on to figuring out these like bigger philosophical, or like not even philosophical, but like daily decisions in your life. Okay. You guys also have Saturn in the 2nd making a trine to the North Node in the 6th. So I feel like when you start to do that internal work and you start to discover these things about yourself, like what you value, what you really, really want to be like in life, like who do you want to be? What do you want to represent? As you start to explore those things, I feel like you're going to start to let go of some of those, like some of the anxiety and racing thoughts, because it's making a trine to the North Node in the 6th house. And this whole year with the North Node in the 6th house is about finally stepping past and overcoming those racing thoughts and those anxieties or self-criticisms, or however that manifests, and typically manifests in the mind. So yeah, I feel like those things are going to be really beneficial to just get clear on who you are and what you want out of life, and stop trying to fight for what's yours, because the universe is supporting you right now. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. If this resonates, please comment down below and like. And as always, if you want to purchase a reading from me, you can do so at willowsbloom.com. And I love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, up next we have Aquarius Rising. All right, for you Aquarius Risings, this new moon in Aries is happening in your 3rd house of siblings, of communication, of your local neighborhood, of your mindset, of early childhood education, and your neighborhood. I don't know if I already said that. I feel like I did. Weird. I feel like I keep recycling cards between people in, between different zodiac signs. It's like the same ones keep popping out in certain readings. So I feel like we're all dealing with certain issues that need to end. These cycles that are long overdue are pretty consistent across many different people. Even though they'll appear in different ways in our lives, the energy of them is the same. And oftentimes, like, the way that we react to things are happening in the same way. So I am pulling cards to go along with your astrology message. I just feel like it gives me this whole perspective of what else you really need to hear. Oh, beautiful, you guys. So you got 2 challenging cards and 2 positive cards, which to me is showing a transition. It's showing this evolving happening from this point of view where you are kind of struggling in terms of mindset, honestly. Might be a little bit about self-love too. I feel called to pull one more, so I'm going to do that. There might be some ways in which you're struggling with self-love. It's possible. Because I pulled the Rose Quartz card specifically. And Rose Quartz has a lot to do with love, relationships. And yeah, this new moon is conjunct Venus, so that is all about love, relationships, but it can be with ourselves too. You know, it doesn't have to be with someone else. I pulled the Mars card, which is about force. I'm going to pull one last one. Let's do this one. Scorpio transform. Okay. Interesting. I'm just trying to see like what I have for you guys. I want to look up what this Sunstone card means before I get into the astrology. So let's just see. Sunstone. Joy is the highest vibration in the universe, matched and surpassed only by love. When you align yourself with this fabulous energy, you are flying high as close to the angels as you can get. Sunstone has come to lighten you up with the radiant vibrance of sunshiny ecstasy, to elevate you closer to the angels. So you need more joy and you need more love is the sense that I'm getting. Joy and love, rose quartz and sunstone. You guys also got the sun card. So I'm getting this, oh my God, that's so weird. You got the sun card, which is about joy, happiness, clarity, things kind of working out in your life, and the Two of Cups, which is about love, partnership, romance. So I'm getting happiness and love, joy and love. These are really big themes. These are things that you're meant to be cultivating over this next year. And it's interesting because you have Saturn and Jupiter moving through your first house, through your sign. So whenever that happens, these planets are very good at restructuring things from the ground up. Like, I mean, total rehaul. So like if I just bulldozed my whole apartment and then completely rebuilt it. And that's really what I'm getting for you guys. I feel like you guys have been going through a lot of transformation. And honestly, I think things might have felt heavy. You might have felt like you're not getting what you want and need from the universe with this Four of Cups here. Like the universe might have been giving you stuff, but you still feel like you don't know. Like you don't know if what's in your life is exactly what you want. I'm just getting this sense of like burden trying to be lifted this year. I know this is a new moon, which typically goes for like 2 weeks intense, 6 months for the full picture, but I'm really extending it to the entire year because it is Aries season. Is the start of a brand new astrological cycle. And yeah, I have the feeling that it's going to be a year-long thing. So, okay, let me first talk about some of the astrology. So the moon is making a sextile to Mars in the 5th house and a sextile to Jupiter in the 1st house. Yeah, you guys, that's what I'm saying. Like Mars in the 5th house. This is Mars. Mars in the 5th house is like being really fiery and motivated to go after what brings you pleasure and what brings you joy. And that can literally mean anything in life. But there is some part of you that needs to make decisions to bring about your own happiness and put your own love first, your own joy first. And I feel like you guys have been denying this from yourself. Like with this Four of Cups, like there's been some kind of like self-sacrifice or denial of your own happiness. And I don't know if it's for someone else or for a purpose, or maybe you felt like that thing wasn't going to make you happy. But I'm getting the need for you guys to like really put yourself first and to like love yourself and come into harmony with yourself. That's what I feel like this Two of Cups is. It can literally mean attracting like that partnership love, but I think it's this partnership with yourself and having your own back. But I kind of feel like you've been tired. You guys have been going through a lot of transformation and maybe you need a little bit of rest before you can come out full force and, make all these decisions for yourself and for your own well-being. You're like, maybe I just needed to rest. Maybe that's the first decision I'm going to make for myself, is to take a fucking break for a second, especially if you're a parent. Kudos to you for being a parent. I know it's a lot of energy, takes it out of you. And I feel like this is especially for people who are parents, like put yourself first at this time. Take this year to make decisions for you. Be a little selfish. You're going to feel like it's selfish. It's probably not even selfish at all, because this is a time when you're meant to totally restructure your life. You are totally revamping it, you guys. Like this year is super intense with Jupiter in there. You're going to get blessings and opportunities, but it's with Saturn is putting that pressure for you to put in the work and make changes and make things happen. And it's just a lot. It's a lot, you guys. So it's going to be really important for you to put yourself first, because ultimately, if you're putting others first, they're not getting the best version of yourself, and they're ultimately not going to benefit from it. So you're truly doing everyone the best service by making decisions that are going to make you happy, following your passions, following Mars in the fifth house, saying that feels good. It feels good to be creative. It feels good to take vacation. It feels good to rest today. It feels good to have sex today, or have this kid, or whatever it is you want. It feels good, so let me do it. So I feel like a lot of this is about shifting your mindset towards self-love and joy. And it's making this new moon is making a square to Pluto in the 12th house. So I feel like you guys might have kind of like some underlying fear around this, interestingly enough. Pluto in the 12th is very hard to pinpoint. It's been transiting here for a while. It's still going to be transiting here for a while for you guys. And the reason why it's so hard is because the 12th house is the house of unseen things, and the Pluto is the planet of hidden things. So put these two together, and you guys are kind of being driven by hidden forces. So there needs to be like the shift in your mindset is being kind of pushed back against by some things that might not be in your total awareness. There could be some like fear of loss. Pluto and the 12th house bring up both fear and loss themes for me. So there can be some like unconscious fear of losing something, like losing love from others, losing support, losing something that you need, losing stability. Whatever it is, there's like some kind of unconscious thing going on underneath the surface that is challenging you to not be this way, to not feel joy and love and ease in your mindset every day. But really, those things don't have to run your life. You're able to make the decision, I feel like, over the course of this next year to consciously be aware of just following your passions and your joy and feeling like, okay, I can do this and I'm going to be safe in this. Like, I'm changing who I am, and that's okay. I don't have to have fear. I can let things go. I can release the old and not be fearful of releasing the old. So yeah, I feel like there's a really, really deeper meaning to some of what's happening in your life right now. And it could always help to just journal about it, because this moon is in the third house. This is about writing. This is about communication. Get out your journals and really really try to get to know yourself and come to terms with what you're currently experiencing and what might be the undercurrent of what you're experiencing, especially within your mind. You guys also have Mars in the fifth house making a square to Neptune in the second. So when it comes to terms of pursuing your creative pleasures or whatever brings you joy, there's probably the side of you that's like, well, but how am I going to make money from that? But like, how am I going to find stability if I do that? You know, I don't really see how I'm going to be supported. Like, realistically, how can I make this happen in the real world? And I want to say that to let go of the need to figure all that out right now, and trust that you're going to be supported, but then of course always having the practical side of things too, but not needing to have all those things aligned up from the start. You can take action, you can take step 1, step 2, step 3 without knowing how you're going to be supported at step 10, you know? So just kind of allow it to flow a little bit here. So if you have those doubts and those fears, it's normal, but don't let that stop you from making these decisions. And ultimately, as you do work on developing yourself as a person and putting hard work into loving yourself more and finding more joy and following your heart and following your pleasure, that does take effort. That does take work, because it's a decision that you're making to act differently than in the past. But as you begin to do this, I'm seeing more things come into your life that bring you joy. So it's like, as you open the door just a smidge, and the water starts coming through, it's like the floodgates open and all these things start to come through, and you find that life is more invigorating. You find more pleasure in life. You find more joy in life. You find more purpose in just everything, daily things that you're doing. And you stop rejecting the side of yourself that wants to receive this emotional fulfillment. You start accepting it. You rest when you need to rest. You go out into the sun and you find the clarity in your life that you need, and the support from others that you need too. So this looks really positive for you guys. I hope that it is. And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. And if it resonates, please comment down below. I love to hear your stories all the time. It's really what keeps me going with this channel at all. And if you guys want a reading on Will's Bloom, if you guys want our astrology reading from me, you can check it out at willsbloom.com. And I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right. And last but certainly not least are my beautiful Pisces. So Pisces rising, for you guys, this new moon in Aries is happening in your second house of finances, conjunct Venus. So let me tell you guys, if you've been working on something to bring in some more money or bring in some more help when it comes to resources, you guys, this light is literally blinding me. Let me fix this. Okay, that's like not even better at all. Well, whatever. But yeah, if you guys have been working towards something in terms of money, I'm really seeing that come through with this moon, you guys. I mean, it's just so supported financially. I feel like that might not even feel like what you guys are working on though, given the cards that I'm pulling right now. There might be something else totally different on your mind, but I am getting the sense that financially with your resources, you're being like really blessed at this time, because having a new moon in your second house of finances, it's basically saying you're going to have a new cycle starting in terms of money. So maybe you're finally going to get like a dream job over the next 6 months, and maybe you're finally going to like get a hold of your finances in ways that you've never been able to before. Especially with Venus here, it's saying like, yeah, like Venus is a planet of money, like you got this, like you're totally gonna make this happen. Let me pull one more card. Curiosity. Interesting. And because it's a new moon, it's just a seedling, it's just a hatchling. So it's not like you guys are gonna have this money just come busting through your door, you know, on the 11th when this moon happens. I'm seeing this growing slowly over time and you truly developing the skills to deserve this kind of finances. It's not gonna come out of nowhere. It's gonna come out of your own merit, out of your own intelligence, out of your own heart and your energy. The smoky quartz. Okay. So I don't know if you guys are lacking clarity. Sometimes smoky quartz makes me think of that. Let me just pull an astrology card and then I can get into the rest of this. 10th house of the world. I keep doing that. I think a lot of people are working on a career. Aries, I am. Okay, well, that is what this moon is. It is an Aries moon, right? So I feel like a lot of what you guys are probably doing is developing your sense of self too. Like I don't even feel like this is really about resources for you guys, even though that is like the generic, not generic, but like the most obvious message. I feel like really what's happening is you guys are stepping into the sense of self that's more bold and showing up in your career and like knowing what you want and developing your skills and deserving what comes to you because of how much work and effort you've not only put into developing yourself and your leadership skills, but also your career skills and just, you know, what you need to learn to be good at your job. This new moon in Aries is making a sextile to Mars in the 4th and a sextile to Jupiter in the 12th. So I'm getting this sense of being very supported by the universe right now. I mean, Jupiter in the 12th is so spiritually beautiful. I feel like it's giving you guys the ability to connect more to your soul and a wonderful time to do some shadow work with the moon card here. A wonderful time to release some of these old ways of being. Jupiter is coming in here saying, girl, I got you. Because I mentioned this in another zodiac sign. The 12th house, I picture it like a dumpster. And every once in a while with transits, the dumpster will open and a bag will fall out and it's up to us to go through the trash, to pull out the good things and to throw away the bad things. Because the 12th house just stores things from many lifetimes and it just permanently stores it until we're kind of ready to receive it in bits and pieces. Because I mean, imagine receiving all of our bullshit like at once, it would be too much. So I feel like this sextile to Jupiter is saying that it's going to unlock some of those things and it's going to give you the blessing of being able to look through it with ease and being able to really identify where you might have been holding yourself back up until this point in time, how you might have been blocking yourself when it comes to money,